welcome back to the channel. You already know what time it is. It's your favorite music connoisseur Henry here, and I'm back again with another video. And this time around, guys, I'm debuting a new piece of content on our channel. It's a video where I am going to be ranking some of my favorite artists' discographies using this tier list that is right in front of me. And I'm going to start this off, guys, by trying to rank my favorite artists, no pressure, albums using this tier list, and that is none other than Mr. K. Mr. Duckworth, Mr. Kendrick Lamar, aka the Boogeyman. Kendrick is my favorite artist, so I wanted to kick things off by obviously trying to rank his discography. I mean, it's going to be quite hard because all of Kendrick's albums are great in their own right. Kendrick doesn't have one bad album in his discography, but nevertheless, obviously, I'm going to try and be as objective as I possibly can be. And yeah, guys, obviously, before I get into the video, please like, comment, and subscribe, all that good stuff. If you like, what you see, then you already know what to do. And guys, I want to know as well, what are your rankings? I mean, this is my personal opinion, by the way, so I don't want anybody to get the yump if you guys don't agree with me. Obviously, this is my opinion, but I would love to hear you guys' opinion. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Let me know in the comment section below. But listen, guys, without further ado, let's get into it. So I'm going to start this off, guys, by ranking the album that first got me introduced to Kendrick's music, and it's his first album independently. It was released. A lot of people think that Good Kid, M.A.A.D is his actual first album, but it's actually Section 80. So that's what I'm going to be ranking right now. So I'm just going to start this off by probably putting this in the B pile. I think this album is a solid 7 out of 10, and let me just say as well, this album has aged very well, considering that this came out in 2011, I think, but it's aged very well. Sonically, it still sounds fresh. It doesn't sound outdated, and yeah, this was my personal first introduction into Kendrick's music, and yeah, there's some classic tunes on here, the likes of ADHD, Fuck Your Ethnicity, and my personal favorite, High Power. And this album, it was interesting because it came out during a time where, there was a new generation of rappers that were being birthed. We typically, call that sort of era the blog era, the blog rapper era, where the likes of Wale, Big Sean, J. Cole, Kendrick, Drake, who else, Meek Mill, Wiz Khalifa, like all these type of rappers sort of came out during that period. And Section 80, if I'm being completely honest with you, was probably one of the best, if not the best project that came from the blog era rappers. And yeah, like I said, man, it still holds weight to this very day. And normally, when I talk about Section 80, I think the best way I can describe Section 80, in my personal opinion, I can use a sporting analogy. Section 80 is like the pre-game show. Good Kid, M.A.A.D is the main event. So I feel like Section 80 was sort of the stepping stone to what Good Kid, M.A.A.D eventually became. And obviously, I'm not trying to slight Section 80 whatsoever, because I have the same opinion when it comes to Nostalgia Ultra and Channel Orange, and I feel the same way about Section 80 to Good Kid, M.A.A.D. So like, obviously, Kendrick, like I said, was still trying to figure out his sound. He was still trying to obviously piece quite a few things together, but I felt like, Good Kid, M.A.A.D was the sort of the completion of what he started on Section 80. So moving on, guys, to Good Kid, M.A.A.D, which is the album that came after this. And guys, I'm gonna just straight put this in the S pile, man. This is an absolute classic, one of the greatest hip hop albums of all time. And yeah, I mean, there's nothing really, there's nothing really to be said. I feel like, Good Kid, M.A.A.D for me is my personal favorite Kendrick album, but I don't think it's his best album. I think the next one that I'm about to rank is his best album, but it's my personal favorite, if I'm being honest with you. Good Kid, M.A.A.D was a conceptual album, and I feel like Good Kid, M.A.A.D was the album that really made Kendrick into a superstar. It was the album that a lot of hip hop fans took notice of him. It was a coming of age album, obviously talking about Kendrick's childhood and upbringing in the drug infested and gang related borough of Compton in Los Angeles. And for me, I think this is the album that I can relate to Kendrick the most, because I mean, just from the album title, Good Kid, M.A.A.D, I was essentially a good kid living in a mad city. Obviously, I grew up in London, or where I grew up in wasn't as dangerous as it was in South Central LA, but you know, it still had this danger. And I felt like Kendrick spoke to me on this album personally. Like a lot of the stuff that Kendrick went through on this album, I personally went through as well, you know. Just being obviously around a group of people that were, you know, getting up to no good, and just being a product of my environment, you know, just hanging around with the wrong crowd, you know, and yeah, all of that obviously swallowed me at one point in time. So, you know, a lot of the stuff that Kendrick was saying on this album, man, I definitely relate to it, man. And sonically, the album's amazing. You know, some of the greatest hip hop tracks have come from this album. You don't even have to look no further than Money Trees. Money Trees, in my opinion, is my favorite Kendrick track. This album flows really well. It's cohesive. It's cutthroat. It's in your face. And yeah, it's just a brilliant album from start to finish, man. So it's in the S tier, man. And then moving on to what I personally feel like is Kendrick's best album. And that's To Pimp a Butterfly, man. We're just gonna put this in the S tier. Again, like Good Kid, Mad City, man, there's nothing really more I need to say about this album, man. I feel like this was Kendrick's most sonically ambitious album, and I think this album took a lot of people by surprise. It certainly did for me, you know. I like the direction that Kendrick went in on this album. Like I didn't expect it, coming off the back of Good Kid, Mad City. He totally took like a U-turn, and for a lot of people, it took them a while for them to kind of warm up to this album. Because it was such a change from Good Kid, Mad City. But honestly, this album is amazing. One of the greatest hip hop albums of all time. Obviously, the African American sort of influence on this album, from a sonic point of view, from a conceptual point of view. Obviously, you know, this album is infused with, you know, jazz, soul, funk. It tackles themes of black culture, racial inequality, institutional discrimination. And yeah, this album, bro, like, obviously Kendrick was talking from a black American's perspective, but listen, even though I'm not American, and some of the things from a black American point of view, I wouldn't be able to relate to Kendrick. I am black, if you can't tell. I am black, and you know, a lot of the sort of inequality and injustice that a lot of black Americans suffer, we black British people suffer too, you know? Man, like Kendrick literally put the culture on his back with this one. And yeah, I honestly feel like this is one of the greatest hip hop albums of all time. Obviously, this album was inspired by Kendrick's trip to South Africa in 2014, where obviously he went to different historical monuments. That includes Robben Island, and I think he went to Nelson Mandela's house as well. So off the back of that visit came this album, and obviously if you can't tell, this album is up on my vinyl wall, so you know what I'm saying, like I rate it highly. But yeah, man, an absolute classic. And then we're gonna shift over to the album that came after this, and it is Damn. And obviously Damn, I feel like it's Kendrick's most commercial album, and I think it's an album that splits a lot of Kendrick's fan bases. It's a very polarizing album, because on one hand, it's still a good project, you know. I always say that Kendrick's worst album is a lot of artists' best album, and by no means is this album bad. This album's a good album, but just coming off the back of To Pimp a Butterfly, I felt like Kendrick obviously wanted to go down the more commercial route. He wanted to obviously, you know, go down the more mainstream route. And then obviously when it comes to like sales and stuff like that, this is arguably Kendrick's most successful album. You know, he has I think one diamond single off of this album, and just in terms of his first week sales, Kendrick sold 600 and something thousand copies in the first week, which is his highest first week sales to date. Obviously, when it comes to Damn, I don't want to disrespect the album, even though it's not my favorite Kendrick album. It did win Kendrick a Pulitzer Prize Award, which is massive. I think he was the first hip hop artist to do so, and it also is statistically Kendrick's most acclaimed album. I think it's got like 94 or 96 out of 100 on Metacritic, which again would be Kendrick's most highest rated album. I don't agree with that, if I'm being honest with you. I feel like that award should definitely go to either Good Kid, Mad City or To Pimp a Butterfly, but according to the critics, this is Kendrick's best album. So this project was hugely successful for Kendrick, but just in terms of like the replay value, I don't play it as much as Kendrick's other albums. And yeah, like I just feel it's still good, but I'll give it like a 7 out of 10 because I don't really play it that much, if I'm being honest with you. I think it's definitely on the same level as Section 80, and yeah, I can't really put it in the A tier or the S tier, so I'll sort of keep it on the B tier, but still a good project. I even forgot Untitled, Unmastered. So Untitled, Unmastered, I'm gonna also put that in the B section. Obviously, Untitled, Unmastered is you know, tracks that Kendrick made during the To Pimp a Butterfly sessions. You know, tracks that didn't make the actual full album, but this album was still like good to me. Like I really love some of the tracks that were on here. I think there were 8 tracks in total, and I maintain the fact, guys, that a couple of the records on here could have made the main album, you know, but it didn't. So yeah, but I still think it was a good project, man. You can call it like a side B to, you know, To Pimp a Butterfly, or you could even call it a deluxe, you know. To me, I've always kind of viewed it as a deluxe project to Pimp a Butterfly, but it's still a good project, man. So yeah, I'll put that in the B pile. So moving on to Mr. M.A.A.D and the Big Steppers, I'ma straight up put this in the A pile, man. This is Kendrick's most personal album. Obviously, Kendrick came back with this album after taking, I think, 5 years off, you know. I think there was a 5-year gap between Damn and you know, Mr. M.A.A.D and the Big Steppers. Obviously, Kendrick went through a lot during that time. Just on a personal level, you know, he started going to therapy, he started doing a lot of self-reflection, self-healing, and it comes across in this album. Like, Kendrick was just very raw, very personal, very just uncut, unfiltered. You know, it's definitely Kendrick's most vulnerable album, man. And it was just Kendrick at his most mature. And I love that because, you know, I'm in my early 30s now, and you know, I think it comes a point where, you know, in life, you want to obviously hear music that is evolving. You want to hear subject matters that you can relate to. And obviously at this stage of my life, man, like I've got a lot going on, you know, I'm a married man, you know what I'm saying? Like I haven't personally been to therapy, but like I'm definitely a big advocate for mental health. So this album for me, man, was just absolutely needed. And I love the growth that Kendrick came with on this album, man. And obviously with a lot of people, you know, again, they kind of, you know, have their reservations about this album because it's not an easy album to listen to, especially if, obviously, you know, you're at a certain stage in your life, you know. But like for people like me, for people who obviously, you know, care about mental health, care about self-healing, self-reflection, all that jazz, this album was very timely, man. And yeah, like for me, this is in the A tier. And moving on to Kendrick's latest album, GNX, I'm gonna put this in the A tier, guys. Like, I love GNX, man. Again, GNX, very different to Kendrick's previous album. You know, I feel like no 2 albums of Kendrick's are the same. He always comes with something innovative, something fresh, something new to the table on all his studio albums. And GNX was definitely that. Coming off the back of, you know, the beef with Drake, coming off the back of just absolutely obliterating Champagne Papi, and having one of the best victory laps of all time in hip-hop history. Yo, GNX was like, GNX, it hit hard, it hit home. Kendrick opted for a more West Coast LA sounding album. And again, if you're not from LA, maybe you might not be able to rock with this, innit? But I love like LA music and LA artists. I'm talking about like Celly Cell, I'm talking about obviously Snoop Dogg, Corrupt, you know, The Game, Kendrick. Like, I love West Coast music and West Coast artists. So for me, yo, I love this album, man. And yeah, like for me, I probably rank this 3rd or 4th in Kendrick's discography. And yeah, the replay value for me was absolutely there. Like, I still play the album to this very day. It was on my best of year list for albums last year. So yeah, man, like Kendrick came on a whole different vibe on this one, and I feel like he absolutely executed everything to perfection. So yeah, and Black Panther, I'm not really gonna rate it because obviously it was a collaborative album, so I don't really count that. But guys, obviously you let me know, you know what I'm saying, like what your rankings are. Let me know how I did. But like I said, man, like with Kendrick, one thing I love about him is no 2 albums are the same. You know, he always brings something different to the table, and this is why for me, you know, he's one of the greatest hip-hop artists of all time. He's generational. There will never be no one like Kendrick, man. And his discography, honestly is unmatched, bro. Like, there's no bad Kendrick album, you know, as you can see here. But guys, obviously, let me know how I did, and let me know if you disagree or agree. Let me know in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll be back again real soon with another one. But until then, my people, stay blessed. I'm out. Peace.